Imagine being history's most powerful man, and dying because you licked the inside of a thermometer like a popsicle. Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor, unifier of warring states, architect of the Great Wall and champion dipshit who chugged Mercury like it was a green juice cleanse. This is the guy who spent 30 years and 700,000 slave labor hours building a death palace with rivers of liquid metal, so he could comfortably decompose in a puddle of neurotoxins. Talk about commitment to the bit. Let's break down the menu of his final meal. Course 1. The Immortality Elixir, Mercury mixed with Jade dust, because nothing says eternal youth like a heavy metal smoothie that turns your organs into abstract art. Course 2. Delusions, a side dish of flattery from alchemists who knew damn well their life extending potion was just a murder loophole with extra steps. Course 3. Cosmic irony, eating poison to avoid death is like hiring a hitman to protect you from cancer. He wasn't just drinking the Kool-Aid, he was mainlining it. While peasants farmed rice, Qin's pharmacists whipped up elixirs laced with more mercury than a Florida weather balloon. Modern scientists tested his tomb's soil, 4 times the safe mercury limit. His burial complex, basically a Superfund site with better interior design. Think of him as the OG anti-vaxxer. Flat earthers lunching on bleach cocktails. Cubic zirconia tier idiots. The man who unified China under one language, currency, and system of measurement died because he thought liquid quicksilver was the Sephora skincare routine of the afterlife. Here's the kicker. He literally killed his scholars for doubting his alchemists, executed dissenters like they were Yelp reviewers criticizing his favorite Mercury bistro. Trust the experts, he'd snarl, then shatter into paranoid rage when his fingernails turned blue. His final tour, a cross-country quest to find more poison, died mid-road trip, body rotting in a carriage for 2 months as his advisors debated how to explain, hey, so the immortal emperor reeks like a dissected frog, maybe spirituality is bullshit. His tomb remains unopened, not out of respect, fear. Chinese texts describe auto-crossbow traps, mercury vapor geysers, and archaeological scans show literal rivers of the stuff. Imagine dying to raid a boomer spice cabinet for arthritis pills. And here's humanity's lesson. We don't learn. Qin inhaled poison to live. You vape CBD for wellness. The same circus, different edible clowns. The man built a terracotta army to guard his corpse, while feeding scholars to his immortality delusion buffet. Let's autopsy the buffet. Ancient Chinese alchemists weren't scientists. They were TikTok influencers of 221 BC peddling mercury smoothies as premium content. Their entire field. What if we eat the shiny? The Taoist quest for eternal life operated on raccoon logic. If it glimmers, swallow it. The Bayapusy texts prescribed mercury, lead, and arsenic cocktails as life-prolonging elixirs. Imagine Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop Lab but with more organ failure. They called cinnabar or dragon's blood proof branding snake oil as humanity's oldest skill, modern equivalent, calling fentanyl artisanal sleep-time dust. Here's their peer-reviewed research. 1. Mercury dissolves gold. 2. Gold equals immortality. 3. Therefore, mercury equals immortality juice. Qin's alchemists weren't outliers. Nobel Prize material Isaac Newton wasted 30 years trying to drink gold too. Heavy metal poisoning is a multi-civilizational achievement. Europe treated syphilis with mercury enemas, the Og detox. A humanity's medical motto. Have you tried poisoning yourself harder? The emperor's personal wellness regimen read like a hazmat manifest. Morning, liquid mercury shots for vitality. Noon, inhaled mercury vapors, mental clarity. Night, lead sulfide face masks, poor refinement. Results, chronic paranoia, explosive mood swings, and skin resembling moldy prosciutto. But hey, at least he never aged. A 39-year-old corpse passing for 50. Modern parallels slap harder than a hangover. Mercury elixirs, biohackers, mainlining unregulated peptides. Alchemist grift gurus selling $333 frequency-aligned. Water bottles. Emperor's denial boomers blaming 5G for their lithium-ion battery aura. Even funnier, Taoists called Mercury the flesh of the gods, more like flesh remover. 3 months of treatment could liquefy your liver into a gelatinous souvenir. Qin's court medics probably had Yelp reviews like, 5 stars. My headache stopped because I died. And the kicker, they knew. Texts warned Mercury caused violent deaths, but addicts rationalized like meth heads at a rehab lecture. You just haven't found the right dosage blended with powdered jade and unicorn horn. We laugh, but open your medicine cabinet. Colloidal silver, Mercury's hipster cousin. Chelation therapy, lead paint chips with a copay. Your zinc lozenges. Qin's ghost is nodding proudly between vomiting spectral Mercury. His tomb is the ultimate monument to this idiocy, a death palace where the elixir of life is still evaporating into carcinogenic mist. The Terracotta warriors aren't guards. They're a support group for victims of bad science. Hi, I'm Archer number 4. My emperor rage quit life because he gargled thermonuclear waste. Mandatory lesson, disguised as a joke. Humanity will always trade longevity for something that glows. Yesterday, Quicksilver Roman 4 drips. Today, radioactive kale smoothies. Tomorrow, Elon Musk's Neuralink Mercury edition. Download Immortality. Side effects include, actually, just be the side effect. And next time you see an influencer hawking ancient wisdom, remember, 5,000 years of civilization and we still lick rocks for fun. But the emperor wasn't just a consumer, he ran China's first state-sponsored meth lab. Imagine Breaking Bad if Walter White owned Auschwitz and snorted his own product. 500 alchemists worked in shifts boiling mercury sulfides in imperial cauldrons. And the FDA, non-existent. Human trials were enthusiastic. Slave test subjects were categorized like lab rats into Tier 1 and Tier 2 screamers. Political prisoners drank experimental batches laced with lead and arsenic. If they convulsed immediately, formula rejected. If they died slowly, bingo, Greta Elixir. Court records show 73 prisoners achieved accelerated transcendence during 1 lunar month alone. Efficiency. 2 horrific genius details. 1 Qin's quality control involved volunteer nobles. Yes, brainwashed aristocrats lined up for Mercury cocktails because immortality FOMO beats dignity. Their last words were probably, I can feel it working, as their corneas melted. 2 The imperial kitchen doubled as a poison brewery. Mercury steamed into dumplings. Vermilion pigment dusted noodles. Every meal was Russian roulette with a side of diarrhea. Modern analogy. Elon Musk testing Neuralink chips on monkeys, except Qin used human grandmothers. Same energy. YOLO science draped in silk robes. And the hypocrisy. Qin executed fraudulent alchemists when elixirs failed. My ex-wife Karen pulled this same scam, sold Jade egg detox kits on Etsy until the FDA seized her bathtub. Difference. Karen got probation. Qin's alchemists got creative executions. Sources mention one forged immortality by being boiled alive in his own mercury cauldron. Deja vu. Weirder yet, Qin swapped real medicine for fantasy. Traditional doctors used ephedra for asthma, a legit treatment. But imperial decrees banned such peasant herbs, replacing them with mercury-laced potions. Imagine getting prescribed bottled Chernobyl runoff because the emperor thought radiation was spicy. Full collapse of sanity. In the tomb's underground labs, rivers of mercury weren't just decor. They were the ultimate leak, evidence of annual spills vaporizing entire excavation teams. Modern tests show soil mercury levels at 280 times the safe limit. Archaeologists suited up like Breaking Bad cooks just to peek inside. The supposed ultimate irony, Qin's physicians penned scrolls detailing mercury's deadly effects 3 centuries before Christ. They knew. Everyone knew. Swallowing mercury was the ancient equivalent of vaping uranium. But power isn't about logic. It's about doubling down until your autopsy requires a hazmat team. Dark lesson. Civilization hasn't evolved, just upgraded poisons. Qin slaves gulped lead. Amazon warehouse workers piss in bottles for billionaire immortality. Same pyramid, better Wi-Fi. So Qin's insurance policy for eternity. That terracotta army staring like a haunted IKEA showroom. 8,600 stone soldiers built to guard, what? A Mercury swamp hotter than a microwave burrito. Every modern CEO tries this grift. Elon launches flamethrowers for fun, but Qin weaponized an entire necropolis. Think about it. He spent 30 years carving these nightmare mannequins with individualized mustaches, only to stash them atop his toxic waste bunker. This idiot's concept of retirement planning was basically Chernobyl meets Madame Tussauds. Real talk. Those soldiers weren't sentries, they were hostages. Qin's Paranoia ordered workers to sculpt each warrior's face from living conscripts, then kiln them alive as spirit anchors. Archaeologists found pottery stamps inside statues matching execution records. Yes, his terracotta army was literally baked from human suffering. My ex-wife Karen did this with Pinterest fail cakes, but even her charcoal brownies didn't slaughter 68,000 slaves. Winner, toxic masculinity. But the real cosmic joke, Qin's artisans trolled him, hidden inside each warrior's ass. They scratched graffiti, Emperor's Jade DCK forever small, or Mercury Queen should divorce this clown. Workers knew he'd never see it. History's most petty revenge since I left Karen's vibrator collection as a garage sale donation. And let's unpack those actual tomb mechanics. Mercury rivers weren't just decor. Qin's engineers thought they built motion-activated crossbows to tomb raid-proof it, but mercury vapor melted the bamboo triggers before burial finished. His ultimate defense failed faster than NFTs. Archaeologists found the crossbow systems rusted into radioactive sludge, meaning any intruder after 210 BC could have fist-bumped Qin's corpse before dying of cancer. Yet here's the barbaric twist. Modern scans show Qin's coffin isn't at the tomb's center. It's suspended over the Mercury lake in a bronze cage, the ancient equivalent of tattooing, "Hang me above a volcano on your LinkedIn." His advisors wrote he'd be closest to heaven there, but let's be real. That cage, just Vegas Buffett logic. He wanted first dibs when the poison rained upward. Weirdest timeline glitch. Qin's tomb radar reveals a second, smaller terracotta army buried upside down beneath the Mercury. Current theory: reverse guardians for the underworld. Reality: project managers fucked up the kiln temperature and buried their shame where he'd never find it, like Karen hiding her OnlyFans from the divorce lawyer. Final confession: China can't excavate the tomb fully. Not because of respect, but because the mercury's so concentrated even robots short-circuit. Qin's dream, to live forever. His success, trapping himself in an unopenable Hellraiser puzzle for 3,000 years. Dark punchline: humans still do this. Bezos builds clock-embedded mountains. Zuckerberg codes metaverse coffins. Every Elon Cybertruck is just terracotta for rich idiots. Our evolution. Upgraded materials, same death cult. And when archaeologists finally crack that tomb, whatever they'll find is already in the water supply, and that's the real inheritance. Mercury seeping into the groundwater of Shaanxi province for 23 centuries. 5.7 million cubic feet of poison sabotaging 6 generations of farmers. Because Qin thought drinking liquid metal was the VIP pass to godhood. Modern tests show rice paddies 3 miles downhill from the tomb clock in at 200 times the safe mercury limit. That's not agriculture, that's Bioshock cosplay. Kids born with tremors, crops that glow under UV light, whole villages where the life expectancy matches the Roman Empire's. Congrats, Qin, you didn't beat death. You just outsourced it to peasants. Funniest tragedy: China's tourism board sells tomb-adjacent herbal medicine. Claims the mercury gives it curative Chi. Reality: it's like snorting asbestos for lung vitality. My cousin Ted tried it. Last I heard, he's convinced his hair is whispering coordinates to Atlantis. But let's applaud the efficiency. Qin's tomb is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a radioactive containment zone. It's the Chernobyl of antiquity, minus the Soviet denial. Officials built a $4 billion drainage system around the burial mound, which leaks more than your Tinder dates trauma. And still, we copy this idiocy. Nestlé pumps aquifers dry in drought zones for bottled water labeled glacial purity. BP paints smiley faces on oil-soaked pelicans. Every crypto mine is just Kin's Mercury Lake with worse graphics. We've learned nothing except fancier ways to die. Science can't even autopsy the disaster safely. Drones fry in the vapor cloud. Hazmat teams return with rashes shaped like ancient curses. Kin's last joke. His tomb is a roguelike game where the final boss is chemistry. That Terracotta army, though, originally painted vibrant reds and blues, bleached bone white by mercury vapor over time. Symbolic. Humans build monuments to vanity. Time turns them into warnings we ignore faster than an unskippable ad. So here's your takeaway. Prepping for doomsday. Skip the bunker. Marry a geologist. Bury yourself above a municipal water supply. And crucially, make sure your corpse becomes an EPA liability so future idiots have to study your stupidity. Final offer. Follow for more uplifting stories of bio-atrocity. Smash subscribe before Musk turns Mars into retirement Mercury spa. Humanity's expiration date's ticking, and the content's golden.